And we're live. Hey, hey. And look who it is in that box right next to me. Hey, Matt, how's it going? Good, good. So Chris can't be with us. There's intensive, like English intensive little clinics or whatever they're doing over the summer. So that it's kind of chaos. They've got to organize these things, these little, yeah. There's a lot going on this summer, so July is proving to be a busy month, but I don't know if August is going to be any better, so we'll see. So how have you been, Matt? What's going on with you? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yes, it's good. We're just going to take turns taking each other's characters out. But yeah, so yeah, if you haven't listened to the Raw, or no, that didn't go live. That's right. No, the Arvaeson. Yeah. So spoilers. Arvaeson ended with a player character death. Yes. So yeah. So for me, as it was. Oh no, it was. Yes, it was live. Vaeson was live. That's right. Yeah, it was. That's right. That's right. It's Raw. That's right. We put the Raw up. I forgot when we started doing that. I'm thinking it was just the Knave stuff. Yeah. Oh, no sound from Matt? Oh, come on. Okay. It says Matt's there. Oh, okay. A little bit more, Matt. Keep talking. Oh. Yeah, right. It's coming across on my end. Oh no. Yeah, it should be putting it out. That's weird. Totally no sound. That's brutal. Okay, so Matt in a box. Matt in a silent box. Yeah, right. Weird. Yeah, you're on the desktop audio and it should be going out. Oh yeah? Oh no. Nice. Nice. So Matt's doing sign language if you can't hear him. It's okay. We don't really need to hear Matt. Wait a minute. There's no, there's no way. Okay, so wait, I'm just going to click the sound on. So prepare for the worst audio doubling ever. Oh, it's not wait here. There we go. Okay. Oh no. Oh yeah, so it's not going out. So what what is happening? Okay, so this is going to be the roughest stream ever. This is premium Patreon content. Yeah, so there should be no reason people can't hear you, Matt. It's very strange. Let me double check. I guess that's weird. You're coming through. Like OBS has you, so I don't know what else could be done. Let me see if. Yeah, Restream says everything is good. Really strange. Yeah, let me just take a look at the settings for Discord. But yeah, you're there. Weird. Okay, what else do we got here? So yeah, I don't want that. Yeah, because I have to hear Matt, and Matt's on the desktop. Oh man, I thought for sure. Okay, wait. Let's try that and that. Check, check, check. Okay. So any luck? So Matt, how's it going? Oh, so did you get a chance to get together with Will last weekend? No. Oh, cool. Cool. All right, let me try properties. Okay, try that again. Oh, there we go. How's that? Is Matt back? 7-second delay. That's weird. Yeah, there's just a random muted input. All right, is Matt back? So this was all just a test, right? Yeah, right. You refuse to hear Matt's the frequency of Matt's voice. Oh no, still not? What is going on? Okay. That's wow. So this doesn't make any sense. Maybe we should just cut it and come back. But it doesn't. It's telling me everything should be working. Okay. Any better? It's all there. Any better? Any better? That should be doubling everything. Weird. It's still nothing. Okay. So desktop audio is here. How's that?
Hello. Hello.
Weird. Yeah. Well, goddamn. I have a silent co-host, so I guess this is you could just do like facial reactions to to the topics.
Oh, he says now.
Now it's
now.
Okay, good.
So now as in you can hear me now?
Now. Do it now. Okay. So I guess we're okay, maybe. I changed nothing between streams and it just decides not to do.
Oh, okay. Sounds like we're good.
Okay, we're good. All
right.
So let's.
Miguel's a sound editor.
Yeah, that's the thing that I still, even like, the really big streams that make thousands of dollars in super chats and do the really big stuff. They spend the first like 5 minutes of every stream going, "How's the audio? How's the audio? Am I doubling? Am I doubling? Is there echo? Is there echo?" So I think I'm just going to cut all this off. So even for the premium. So let's rewind the clock and pretend we just went live. So, hey, and we're live. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
I'm good, Jeremy. How are you?
I'm good. So it's good to see you. So I've got Matt in a box again this week. So a little technical difficulties at the beginning that we're going to edit out so you don't have to endure that. But unfortunately, Chris can't be here with us this week. We got some English intensive program going on for the summer. So all those Japanese are intensely studying English for some reason. And so Chris, Chris will be maybe sporadic through the summer. We'll see. But Matt was available, so thank you so much for helping out. It's a nice thing to be able to do a back and forth. All right. Very good. And thanks, Miguel, for helping us with our technical difficulties. Matt in a box is Miguel's choice. Matt in a box with sound is even a better choice, I think. So, all right. So we're talking about player character deaths, right? So the end of Vaesen, we saw a death of a wonderful character. And for me as a game master, I think that's the first. That probably shows how little I've actually run games, but that's the first character death I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah. Probably back in the day there was some of it, but we weren't doing things very seriously. But yeah, for like a serious campaign, like as many sessions as we had and everything, yeah, that's the first time that's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, went out fighting a giant pig demon, so it's okay.
Yeah, and they warn you in that mystery. They say this thing is brutal, so be careful. And I thought we had it under control, but it literally jumped an elaborately laid trap that you guys set out for it. And if it wouldn't have made that, then it would have been rendered pretty much harmless. But it jumped right over. If it wouldn't have eaten all those witches, I think it wouldn't have been so powerful. I would have rolled fewer dice. So.
Yeah. But that's what I love. Like, you got to let the dice fall where they fall, right?
Yeah.
It cheapens it if you fudge that kind of thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's true. and it makes interesting. And I really like if you guys listen to the stream, I really like how that affected Will's character. So Axel just like took this, hard turn off into like kind of militant monster slaying right after the death of Nils. Yeah.
He became Dexter.
Right. Oh yeah. So Abyss asked in chat about the early episodes, the first few sessions of Knave. And so I think what I'll do is I'll put those kind of just raw audio. I'll cut off the the false start and kind of the ending. So when we start the session and then when it finishes, I'll cut that audio and put it on the member section for YouTube, so you can hear it as audio. Because we've been putting that out live, and people are like, "Well, this is the third session, so what happened before this?" Yeah, so I'll put that in the members area. So for just $1, anybody that is interested in where that campaign was can have access to that. But I don't want to just put that out there, for mass consumption, because it'll maybe feel like we don't put any effort into our actual plays. So I want to make sure people know this is raw stream, this is raw audio.
Yeah.
So
that was a fun one too.
Yeah, definitely. Those are fun characters, and it's going interestingly. Yeah, and I love the monsters. The funny thing that came up is Matt asked me, I want you to draw this monster for the next session, but if I tell you what it is, then it's gonna ruin it for your character. So that's
I've got quite a few of those now. It sucks.
Man, yeah. Wow, yeah, that's really really fun. Yeah, good stuff. So they're definitely going to get drawn, but maybe it'll just be post session.
Yeah.
So. But that'll give me a good idea too how to depict them. Like having to face them will give me a more kind of concrete image of what you're dealing with.
Yeah, what was going on in your mind's eye when we played? Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so Knave is really fun. I like that system, and it's going well.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like it's almost no system, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's about as thin as you can get, and I really like that. Like it encourages my like homebrew urge a lot, because and I like that I can just throw stuff to you and Will and Messenger. Hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, I like the system. So they've compared it to Cairn and Into the Odd. I think those are both kind of old school style games, but very rules light. You're still rolling d20s, but it's like things are stripped down.
I guess I found out this after the fact. It's kind of funny because he doesn't really say it in the Kickstarter, but some of the basic mechanics he got from that that other guy calls himself Professor Dungeon Master.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Well, he has a little like zine style RPG that he made.
Oh yeah.
It's called like Deathbringer, I think.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I guess that whole taking away the 3d6, like the 3 to 18 stats, and just expressing them as the bonus, I guess he did that in his game.
Ah, interesting.
Which is a great little. I like that. It's like, okay, it makes total sense. Why do we even need those stats? We're not playing a roll under style game, so we don't really need those stats.
Right.
So cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, a lot of the things that I've heard on that channel, on that YouTube channel, I've agreed with like some of his decisions, like group initiative, and he's got a really nice idea. Instead of laying out like elaborate dungeon tiles and things that you have to reveal, is just when there's combat, he basically has this like disc, this disc of a dungeon floor, and you just represent every room or everything by just kind of placing something that kind of represents limits, but every encounter can occur in this like just like circular space that will give you distances, like how you can kind of determine in that abstract way you're near, far, or very far. And so there's some interesting kind of tweaks.
That's very abstract.
Yeah. But yeah, there's some stuff. The only thing, I think he plays with a lot of kids. I think he's a teacher, and he plays with a lot of like young kids. So I think some of his stuff is also tuned towards short attention spans, and different different things that may make it less appealing to like older gamers.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, very good. All right. Well, we got lots of stuff to talk about this week, so let's get to it.
All right.
Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt. So thanks for joining me. So Chris can't be here this week, so it's not a solo cast. It's a remote co-hosting cast. So let's
Jeremy +1.
Yes, right. Yes, our special guest, co-host Matt. So let's see. So and this week on the weekly, the death of the Firstborn in Warhammer 40K. Paizo partners with Mirrorscape, the ARVTT. Cloudbreaker Alliance heads to Kickstarter. Candela Obscura has a theatrical release. So if it's not bad enough that Critical Role is playing Wembley, then yeah, theaters coming to a theater near you. And then Drive-Thru RPG bans AI content. So before we begin, let's check in on Brinkwatch. So this is day 188 of Kyle Brink's refusal to resign. So of course his statement to 3 black halflings was that people like him should leave the hobby as soon as possible, and he's not doing that. So let's encourage Kyle. Hashtag resign Kyle. Let's encourage him to put his money where his mouth is and honor his bullshit that he said on podcasts as he was trying to make excuses for that weird OGL that Wizards tried to get past us. All right. So starting with Games Workshop. So speaking of companies hiding and killing things, Games Workshop is finally retiring Space Marines. So I think it was 8th edition. As part of the lore, they revealed the Primaris Space Marines. So there was this secret gene seed that suddenly there are now super. So you have Space Marines, which are super soldiers. So these are super duper soldiers, I guess. So this super advanced, bigger, better version of Space Marines, which a lot of people thought was kind of a lore breaking. A lot of old school Warhammer players thought that was kind of a cop out, and it was, I think, Games Workshop's attempt to do a true scale Space Marine, because the older models, when you compare a Space Marine to just a typical, just a regular infantry soldier, they're supposed to be like 12 feet tall, and the scale of the miniatures didn't reflect that. So Primaris scales them up and kind of gives you a more accurate representation of, compared to an unaugmented human, how big a Space Marine is supposed to be. So when they released that, people were very afraid this is what they're going to do. They're going to push out all the old models. They kept the old models available. They said they can play side by side, even though they don't look very good. And then through 8th, 9th, and now we're in 10th edition, but through 8th and 9th, there was a weird size creep. There was power creep, but there was a weird size creep where the models were strangely getting taller and taller, even though they weren't being indicated as Primaris, but they started to scale up some of their new sculpts for Space Marines, and now they're finally saying we're done. So they're stopping production of all of the old models, so all of the old scale models, and they're going to relegate a lot of these models to what they call the Legends status. So they'll still have stat lines, and they'll still kind of somewhat maintain them, but they can only be played in friendly matches at home. No more tournaments. Maybe shops will, the Warhammer shops will not be excited to have you bring them. Who knows what this is going to lead to? But you have a firstborn child, Matt. So if you had the choice to relegate your firstborn to the status of Legends and basically put them in a closet and never get them out, do you think you would do that?
No, but I'm not a evil corporation.
Right. Yeah, so this is a move that people were kind of dreading, kind of expecting, and finally with 10th edition, they're doing it. And so what this does is it kind of changes the flexibility of, so to really make to give the individual models weapons and things, you have to buy multiple kits. So it's making you buy a lot more plastic to get the kind of loadout you want on your units, because although they're not completely monoposed, the newer Primaris are a little bit more dynamically posed. So you can't just swap any arm and any torso and any head and any body. There's you do have to do a lot of work to make it more. So they're making it less flexible. They're making it harder to hobby because they want you to just buy more kits. They don't want you to use existing kits or rework older ones. So that older kind of 90s style where there's just, multiple arms, multiple legs, multiple heads, and then different, weapons is not happening anymore. They get to choose, what weapons come with what kits, and it's never enough. I think they paid the guy that did the hot dog buns and hot dog packs. There's like, you get what, 8 buns or 6 buns and 8 hot dogs, and you got to figure out how many you need to buy. They're doing that kind of thing where you never have enough, flamers or heavy bolters or whatever for your units unless you buy multiple kits. So they say you can still proxy stuff, but that's not going to be probably socially acceptable for very long, or like tournament legal for very long. So things like the Thunderfire cannons, the Stalker tanks, land speeders have no Primaris equivalent, so they're just gone. And as of right now, there's no servitors, no official models for servitors. So even though those are in the rules officially, that you can't, you can only use the old models. So yeah, it basically invalidates a lot of people. And obviously the move is, you haven't bought any new Space Marines from us for, half a decade now. So we're going to force you to buy new models at our amazing prices.
So the way it's going, like 10 years from now, their game will just be based on 40K action figures, it sounds like.
Yeah,
you can't,
right.
You can't customize them. So they'll be like these weird unpainted action figures because they still want to sell you their paint.
Right. Yeah, they're
stupid.
Yeah. It's a strange thing, and it seems like they don't really. They're just they've got their market strategy and their the profit that they're aiming at, and they're not really concerned with what the players, because I think they just assume you're addicted. You're in it, so we can do whatever we want, and we're going to piss some people off, but it's never going to be enough to really affect our bottom line. And that holds true because Games Workshop has the biggest year ever. So they reported their revenue, and they're up from 2022. They're up 15%, 15.2% retail. Their operating profits 8.2%. Earnings per share up 4.6%. So it's all coming up roses. And they did a financial statement and a lot of the typical corporate bullshit. They said things like, the reason Games Workshop is great is that it is run with principles and has a culture and values, which, when applied by good people who align to these principles and behaviors, can deliver great performance. That sounds like that creepy, the CEO of BlackRock. That sounds like that weird statement that he made about ESG scores, and we must align with this thinking, make them think the thinking. Yeah.
Do you have from that article about their profits? Do you have their their net profit? I forgot how much it was.
Oh, oh yeah, they're the kind of what they were making operating wise. Let me see if that's in here.
It was in there somewhere.
Yeah, they
it was like the revenue after costs or whatever.
Yes. Where did it go? I've got subscriber numbers. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing. Oh, there we go. The cash flow. So they have a 136.5 million pounds. Return. So the profits are pretty big. So, yeah.
There was another article, I didn't share it with you. You might have saw it though. Someone was talking about how they spend like $8 million a year on their molds.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
But that sounds like a lot of money. But if you're making like 136 million pounds, is probably like $150 million right now or something like that. So So 8 million as part of your cost of operating is not really that big a deal.
Right.
And now you're going to charge more because your miniatures keep growing.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's amazing. It's kind of like the Starbucks model. They sell you like, 20 cents a coffee for $5. They have to, they have to buy the machines to make the coffee, but basically once they get it into production, so once they've, tooled these molds and are running these injection processes, creating this plastic, they're selling you 10 cents worth of plastic for, 10 pounds. Or $10. So it's probably more than that, probably $20. So it's really ridiculous. And they even there was a former employee that was on a podcast recently that was saying that actually them setting up their paint factory and this contrast paint thing that they did saved the company, because they were in another one of those situations where they had invested a lot in stuff that wasn't returning profits, probably like tooling for new miniatures for these starter sets, because they're on this like weird treadmill of like every 3 years they're doing a new edition for each of these games. And so now they have two, they're two games that they're pushing, Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40K, and they just keep over investing in it and then not getting people excited enough to actually buy these like big starter sets. So those keep piling up. So for the previous edition of Age of Sigmar, they were those went into like overstock and were being sold online for a quarter of their value, or a quarter of their MSRP. So yeah, they figured something out. They figured out how to keep doing this. They make good miniatures. The quality of their miniatures is great. It's a very specific style though, and I think now that we have a bigger range of creators doing 3D sculpting for miniatures, we're seeing a bigger variety of styles. So it may lead people to look in other places eventually, because Games Workshop definitely has a very specific look for a lot of their miniatures, and it's so yeah, if you're looking for a variety, you're not going to find it from them. They're basically a one. Both their fantasy and sci-fi look very similar, but they're also talking about Jose.
I was thinking that maybe making the Marines bigger was sort of a physical version of how they changed the name of the Imperial Guard, like so that they could say this is ours and nobody else's kind of thing.
Yeah. That could be possible. Yeah, they're working very hard to be distinct enough that they can trademark things and they can defend their IP as much as possible. And that also comes with how heavily they're leaning into licensing. So licensing, I mean, we've seen this so much merchandise. There are, like you were saying, action figures. There literally are now Warhammer action figures. So if you want to pay $40 per action figure, you could literally do a whole army on the tabletop in a kind of Star Wars like 5.5-inch scale action figure, or like 4 3/4. But so they're doing tons of merchandise and they're doing tons of licensing for games. So there's a lot of mobile games and PC games and console games out with the Warhammer IP. So yeah, we'll see. But some other interesting stuff that was in that report. So 78% of their sales come from outside the UK. And that's why they give the UK that sweetheart deal. The prices, if you can get stuff out of the UK, the price that you're paying is so much lower than anywhere else in the world. It's ridiculous. They really? The local pricing in pounds is so sweet compared to what they make everybody else pay. And when the British pound is weak, it's insanely cheap compared to other markets. But they've got two main factories. This is all in Nottingham, England. They have two main factories, a paint factory, 2 warehouse facilities, design studios, and back office support functions. So a lot of stuff going on in not a big town. But
I've been listening to that audiobook of the Designers and Dragons, and it's got me a little hypersensitive because it seems like every other game company they cover turns into an evil company,
Right.
And the Games Workshop one is interesting because they talked about how they studied the orders coming from game stores in UK, and using the sales figures from that, they opened Games Workshop stores in those areas and basically drove those stores out of business. Then they tried to do that in the U.S. and they got sued for it because our laws, I guess, are a little more strict.
Yeah,
which always surprises me when we have a stricter law than they do in Europe. But yeah, just
that really sucks. Yeah, but it does seem like they're trying to do that now with their web store. So they're not going to, maybe especially in America, they're not going to be able to get away with crowding out the friendly local game stores and eating their business away. But it seems like they're really trying to do that with their online sales, because they offer bonuses and you get it first if you order online. And when there's big releases, how they decide to divvy it up between the stores, always you can get it if you order it online from them, but if you're waiting at your local game store, it may not come, and they may just short the store. So if you've pre-ordered, you don't get it. So they're really playing hardball with, I think, a lot of the brick and mortar retailers that aren't Games Workshop, so that aren't Warhammer stores. So that really sucks. So that principle and culture, it just means fucking over the independent sellers, independent retailers. Yeah, so that's not
the gamers.
Yeah, and the gamers too. Yeah, and the gamers. I mean, because if you don't have a Warhammer store, the center of, and probably where you're going to play, where you're going to meet, where you learn the game is going to be that local hobby shop. And if they're going to screw them over, then yeah, they're going to move away from your products. Yeah, the other thing that was interesting is so their web stores have almost 427,000 active users, so active accounts that buy from them, and so that's pretty huge number of customers that they can rely on for pre-orders and stuff. But the thing that was surprising is their Warhammer Plus, their subscription service, which is a ghost town, only has 136,000 subscribers. So they're not doing huge numbers at all. You'd think that those numbers would be a little bit closer. The people that bought from them and the people that would be interested in, their streaming content would be a little bit closer. It's up from last year, but still, these are pretty weak numbers for probably what the operating costs of that platform are, because they're paying for bandwidth and production. They set up studios and things to produce all of their battle reports and stuff. So yes. So no more, and they actually said this in the report, no more 50% plus year over year growth. It's like they were expecting that. That's so funny. Yeah. Well, we can't expect that anymore. Gosh, golly gee. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, $8.6 million in just the tooling costs on molds last year. But then when you look at what they made on those miniatures that they cast with those molds, it's just silly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no more Firstborn, or your Firstborn are relegated. But there are things like one-page rules. There's a lot of other game systems that you can use those miniatures for, and they're gonna.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're gonna realize that. So I'm just wondering how long, because this is not a sustainable model to keep screwing the customers and keep trying to take things away from them that they've played with, for decades. So eventually people are just going to get pissed off enough that they're going to look at other rule sets. They're going to look at other miniatures producers. And even if they have some of the best miniatures in the market, people will go with second best if they can be more comfortable with, how the company's operating and how they're being treated as a customer. So we'll see.
And they'll just, once it starts taking a serious downturn, I know what they're going to do. They'll just blow it all up. And they'll bring in Age of the Emperor, right?
Right.
Change the style of things and just ride the word of mouth, the free advertising from word of mouth from making such a drastic change.
Yeah.
Like they did before.
Right.
With fantasy.
With the old world. Right. Yeah. The death of Superman. Right. Yeah. Anytime they need some attention, they'll kill their they'll pretend to kill their IP, and then they'll bring it back. Like they're bringing back the old world. Like they're going to bring that back as a whatever,
but as a premium product.
Yes, right. Yeah. So it's going to be like Horus Heresy. It's going to come back, and you're going to have to pay triple the price because they're just going to do resin models and yeah.
triple the Games Workshop price, which is ridiculous already.
Yes. Yeah, so it's fun. All right, well, let's talk about a company that may be making better decisions, or I'm not quite sure yet. This doesn't sound all that promising. But Paizo has just announced that they are partnering with Mirrorscape. So we talked about Mirrorscape before. They're a company that's leaning heavily into devices, so tablets and phones, to run an augmented reality virtual tabletop for RPGs. So they have some real-world producers that they're licensing what they produce physical assets like Dwarven Forge and some of these companies. They're going to produce digital versions of those officially licensed to be included in the Mirrorscape platform. And now they're partnering with Paizo to offer both Pathfinder and Starfinder official assets in the game. So you'll have authentic three-dimensional assets for this augmented reality setting. So Mirrorscape, they had a Kickstarter, I think a year or two ago, and they have officially launched on this past July 25th. They launched the platform, and they're doing kind of a nice thing to be able to try it. They're letting you sign up for a 30-day trial, and everybody can sign up for this, and they give you the entire store for free. Like everything that's offered, all of their assets for free, and let you play with that for a month. And then after the trial expires, then you can decide, what you want to buy, what you want to use. And regardless of that, you'll get a free starter set, which you get to keep, that will include enough three-dimensional terrain pieces to build caverns and dungeons, along with 10 free miniatures. So that's all yours. And but the full store with all of the pre-built maps and everything that are going to be offered will of course expire with your trial, and then you can go back and buy them from the shop if it was something that you liked and were using it. So they've already partnered with Dwarven Forge, Fat Dragon Games, Hero Forge, Reaper Minis, and Norse Foundry. So basically creating what they call digital twins of all of these real-world models. And they also said because they're working with Paizo that they are fully committed and will support the ORC, the Open RPG Creative License. So everything is going to be compatible with that as well. The one thing that doesn't sound too encouraging though is they're kind of leaning heavy into. We started with mobile devices, but we really want to be on AR glasses and headsets like the one that Apple is releasing for $3,500. So if the buy-in to play this on this platform is $3,500, I don't know how many people are actually going to be using it. If that's their ideal.
I think it's cool that Pathfinder is trying to find a place in the light of this, impending Wizards of the Coast walled garden thing that's coming down the pike. But my opinion on that particular service hasn't really changed. I don't see the value. Like I'm into VTTs now. Like I've learned to appreciate them playing with you and Will. But it's because you and I live thousands of miles apart.
Right.
That's like literally the only reason I appreciate it. Like,
right.
I would never choose to use a VTT with people that I could drive to their house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And the added thing, which we talked about last time we talked about these guys, was of using AR at the table. I don't see the value in it at all. I don't.
Just staring through an iPad camera. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and those Apple glasses are not. I mean, the reason those are so expensive because that was literally just they wanted to get them in the hands of developers. They didn't. It wasn't really meant for the public, although they sold them to you if you were willing to pay that price.
Right.
So it's going to be years before those are really back around to it, where people are thinking about buying them and they're decent priced. So
yeah. So
best of luck.
Yeah. It is. It's a ways off, and I don't think VR and even AR are going to have a huge impact on what we're doing for quite a while. Yeah, they're saying ultimately where they want to be is things like hand tracking and gesture control in their platform, so you can move your hand around and it will affect things as your kind of interface with the with the AR platform. But yeah, who knows? But yeah, if you're curious about what Mirrorscape is doing, it's already available on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store as of this past July 25th. So take a look and see what kind of Pathfinder, Starfinder stuff is in there. And yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it could be interesting for our streaming. You know, if it has if it's easy to use and visually a little bit more interesting. It has lighting and stuff, and we can kind of move cameras around. That would be kind of cool to choreograph stuff visually a little bit more. But as far as like having a device on the table, I don't see that as at the table. I don't see that as very useful.
Yeah, and the problem now is there's so many VTTs either operating now or coming out soon. Like, you know, obviously you and I kickstarted Alchemy, right?
Right.
And before that, we were trying Roll, and you've got Foundry, and we were doing Astral,
right? And Owlbear Rodeo, yeah.
And Owlbear Rodeos, right? Forgot about that one. And it's like, and there's still more coming out. Like they're still jumping into like my Instagram algorithm as advertisements for new ones coming. And I'm like, how is this? Like, there's too many. It's too many.
Right. Yeah, and the market's going to thin, and so it really sucks if you support one. If you kind of make your choice and say this is the one we're going to use, and you get your whole group involved, everybody buys in or at least downloads it or logs in, makes an account, and then they just suddenly disappear. So everything that you've saved, all that you've been building in that platform, just like what we did with Astral, like all that time I spent putting those Blade Runner assets into Astral, it was just deleted. They just turned it off, so that can happen at any time. So yeah, when the shakeup comes, when Wizards finally releases their platform, I think it's going to be lean times for some of these, the lesser performing platforms. So we'll see what happens.
It is an interesting short-term revenue boost, I think, for some of these game companies, because pretty much all the ones coming out now are emphasizing that they've got licensed product from known game companies. So I think a lot of these game companies are probably seeing like these short-term revenue boosts of like, oh, now this VTT wants to use our stuff and this VTT wants to use our stuff. But then when they start dying, that's all going to go away.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, but you're right. That's bringing revenue into some of the publishers that we like, and hopefully letting them get bigger and better in the games they're making. So yeah, that's good. And speaking of games that people are making, we have Cloudbreaker Alliance. So a unique tabletop headed to Kickstarter that's inspired by, now this list is kind of weird to parse, but inspired by Star Trek, Final Fantasy, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Discworld. So I'm trying to put all that together in my head, like how that would actually look and feel.
So it's a turtle-shaped spaceship,
right? On a 5-year mission
with a big sword,
right?
Yeah. Okay. No.
Yeah, it's a funny combination, but so this game was created by CJ Leung. So CJ Leung has a award-winning YouTube channel called Don't Stop Thinking. And when I went to look at the channel, I found that I was already subscribed. So I've been to his channel before, and he does really good tutorials for like learning a game you've never played. So he goes through like Call of Cthulhu and some systems and really breaks things down in a really nice way to understand them. And the thing that I like the best about his channel is, from his name, I'm guessing he's Asian. Or at least partly Asian on mother or father's side, but his accent sounds like it's by way of Eastern Europe. So it's kind of like a Chinese accent that's filtered through Romania. And so I love the sound of his voice is very unexpected, but it's very fun to listen to for a tutorial, and he explains things very well. He breaks things down very well. So this is his baby. So his latest project is a tabletop game called Cloudbreaker Alliance. So Cloudbreaker Alliance is headed to Kickstarter on August 1st. And so it's obviously anime inspired. There's a couple of anime influences, but it's also, so it's both Eastern and Western media are inspiring this, and maybe like CJ himself, maybe a mixture of cultures, and he seems to be kind of bringing those things together. So what happens is the players assume the roles of Cloudbreakers. So Cloudbreakers are tasked with breaking through these ominous cloud walls that have kind of divided civilizations. So it's a game of discovery. So I think that's where kind of the Star Trek comes into it. Is you're breaking through these barriers in this world and discovering new cultures, new civilizations, and that's your role as a player. And it sounds like very much a mashup of fantasy tropes, both Eastern and Western. So some of the possible character possibilities, player character possibilities they talk about are cowboy orcs wielding Kai blasters, or samurai angels transforming into magical girls. And they stress a modular approach to combat abilities. So they separate class and equipment, and you can use that. You can use kind of lean into either your class and your skills or your equipment to give you benefits in combat, and they don't want your character to feel compromised in combat effectiveness. So they let equipment and class kind of be equally as important. So there are 256 levels of character growth, they're calling it. Yeah, so you can level up to 256 if you need to. That sounds very Final Fantasy, across 32 classes. And the classes have unique features where you can have 2 active classes at any time, giving you this like really high level of combination. So like I guess you're all basically dual classing, and you have this like myriad of class combinations to give you just the right mix of whatever type of skills or whatever kind of play style that you want. The other thing that feels very kind of Final Fantasy inspired is the spirit token system. So these are tokens that are generated during battle, and you can kind of save them up to unleash very potent abilities from the character called spirit bursts. So that's a very that feels very Final Fantasy, kind of like filling up your meter to use your super attack. And the thing that you can do though is also share these tokens with your party. So if someone is closer to breaking out their super breaker buster sword ability, then you can share your tokens and let them pull that off. So it sounds interesting. It sounds like an interesting combination, and this designer has a lot of experience with existing games, existing systems out there. So probably kind of a greatest hits and all of the inspiration of his kind of pop culture, his dream pop culture mashup. So interesting.
Does it say what the kind of core mechanic is?
Yes,
how the resolution is?
It's going to be a pair of D6s. So 2 6-sided dice will be so tokens and D6s is all you're going to need to play. Basically it is a target number, and you're rolling the D6s plus your ability to hit a target. And I think I forget what the kind of default skill test is, if it's like a 7 or whatever. But they don't talk about kind of powered by the apocalypse, like successes with conditions or anything. They just talk about like straight success or failure in the mechanics. But it is 2d6.
That's very like old school traveler system.
Yeah. It's interesting. And the other thing that they mention is they're going to also produce a monster conversion chart for all 5e monsters. So they want you to take. So if this is maybe good for trying to get people coming from 5e to try something different. They're going to have all of the probably the whole monster manual for 5e all statted out, or at least convertible into the system. So basically all your fantasy monsters can make an appearance.
I hear lawyers sharpening pens. I don't know.
Right. And they're calling it, the setting is a counter-apocalyptic setting. So having a world that's divided by clouds, that these barriers need to be broken, means you're discovering diverse civilizations. You're not looting and plundering, and it's not like digging through the wreckage of a destroyed world. It's actually discovering new worlds that have been isolated communities, and communicating and kind of connecting with them. So I think that eliminates some people's kind of frustration or whatever with the go into people's house, stab them with a dagger, and take their stuff. Kind of aesthetic of fantasy role play.
You could still do that.
Yeah, you can still do that though. You're just breaking through clouds. Before you stab them, you gotta get through the clouds. Yeah. So yeah.
That's a cool idea, though. I mean, it sounds kind of like an exploration game, which, obviously the old school is a hex crawl. And one of the things that always kind of bugged me about hex crawls generally was like you would have this big ass map that was already known to the players, but somehow magically they were exploring it, And this is a way to solve that. It's like, well, there's these clouds that obscure things. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. That's right, because it gives you barriers on the world that can limit the players. Instead of mountain ranges, you can have clouds. But the other thing that they talk about, so the collaborative storytelling, so, they have the modular game combat, but also, they're focusing on collaborative storytelling. And the influence for that is what they're calling the Kishoten Ketsu, which is the 4-part story structure that's popular in a lot of Asian storytelling. So if you've ever seen a comic strip, the vertical comic strips in Japan, the Yonkoma comics, there's a very kind of old traditional story structure that is that's based in 4 parts. So the Western kind of 3-part structure is setup, confrontation, resolution, whereas the Eastern structure has an additional part in there which is a twist before the confrontation. So they're trying to include that idea, which is also very common in anime storytelling. I think they're trying to include that in a lot of the story structure or the adventures. For this to give it more of that Asian flavor, so that twist, that twist or something that happens right before kind of the resolution of the story is included in the thinking of this game. So there's videos that CJ Leung has already put on the Don't Stop Thinking YouTube channel. I'll put a link to his channel, and you can take a look at kind of the videos to introduce the setting and the mechanics and everything. So it's very anime. The look of the game, I think, the art style and everything is going to be very anime, very magical girl, very bright and cute, but very fantastic. So if that's not your flavor, if that's not your style, that's something. That's something. It made a kind of a deliberate choice to go very, very anime in the look. But the system sounds interesting. It sounds like a fun setting, and anti-apocalypse is interesting. Counter-apocalyptic. So this is coming to Kickstarter on August 1st. So just a few days, you can take a look at the campaign, and so joining. Oh, this is interesting. So joining Leung on the design is the Avatar Legends co-designer Daniel Kwan and Fallout RPG editor Jackie Leung. So it's a very Asian-based design group, and plus the Japanese artist. Oh, so this is where the anime look comes from. Sunohara and Hagaki, Hagaki with a 1, are Japanese artists that are doing the illustration and character design. So that's why it looks so Japanese, is because it's Japanese artists. So so take a look.
Yeah, it sounds cool. I mean, it sounds like the kind of game I would like to play, but maybe not be the one running.
Right. Yeah, somebody with a passion for anime would be a good choice. Yeah. But interesting. I mean, and I think we're going to see more and more of this, game systems that have a setting that's a new take on fantasy. Yeah, and I think using that Eastern influence, and it's Eastern influence that's not kind of fetishized. These are Asian creators doing a game that's East versus West, and probably a lot of them themselves are a mixture of East versus West. They may be, Canadian-born, American-born, European-born, Asian. So they have an interesting cultural mix, and they can bring that to this design. So, yeah, probably worth checking out if that appeals to you. And you always wanted to play Final Fantasy Star Trek, and who hasn't in Discworld?
Yeah, the Star Trek part of that, I think they're stretching a little bit.
Right.
Everything you just said is not really Star Trek, but that's cool. That's cool.
I like saving up my my tokens to unleash my phaser, my super phaser ability.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So we talked a little bit about last week the So Critical Role kind of deleting one of their former hosts, and also their appearance, I think, in October and at Wembley. So there will be the reunion of the Mighty Nine will happen live on stage where the Beatles and Led Zeppelin performed. Which doesn't make any sense at all. So making
nothing matters anymore.
Right.
Nothing matters anymore. I'm sorry.
So making even more, making even less sense and sounding more ridiculous, is Candela Obscura's second chapter is going to be screened in movie theaters as a 5-hour cinema premiere. And yes, that's 5 hours of actual play sitting in a cinema. Wow. So what is Candela Obscura? So they've already premiered their first season, or their first chapter, I think they're calling it. So it's an alternative universe of the 1920s, kind of an offshoot from Critical Role. They're using their own original system that's basically Blades in the Dark. Their take on Blades in the Dark, this second chapter is actually going to be a completely new story. It may eventually end up linking back to the first chapter, but they're going to have all new players, all new characters, and a new host. So this second chapter will feature Marisha Ray and Brennan Lee Mulligan, who are names that critters might know. So at San Diego Comic-Con, they announced this, and they're bringing on other players that will comprise the Circle of Needle and Thread. So the name of that secret society. So there'll be paranormal investigators protecting people and the society from the threat of paranormal, dangerous magic and weirdness. So yeah. So the first one was first chapter was game mastered by Matt Mercer. This one will be actually run by the designer of this original system. So Spencer Stark, the lead designer of Candela Obscura, will be the facilitator in this second chapter. So yeah, that will be interesting, I guess. So they'll play this out over 3 episodes, and it's going to be live streamed, so you can watch it from home. But if you want the event, if you want to cosplay and you want to throw things at the screen, August 31st, Cinemark will be screening all 5 hours of this opening chapter in theaters throughout the U.S. So concurrent with the live streams, they will be projecting this. I guess, that's the digital projectors allow you to do this, right? You can just, stream the internet. Yeah. So that's changed things a lot.
Wow. So how much would I piss off the Critical Role fans if I went to that and started throwing toast at the screen?
Yes, exactly. You got to come up with the spoons and toast, and you got to come up with a whole ritual for what you do during these theatrical presentations. Yeah, I don't know. 5 hours sounds pretty brutal. There's going to be a lot of walking around, a lot of checking your phone and stuff. I don't think they can actually hold an audience for 5 hours straight.
Yeah, that's rough. I wouldn't watch a Scorsese film that was 5 hours.
Yeah, right. I watched 4.5. The Irishman, I think, was was over 4.
Take a break. I had to take a break.
Yeah, so you said that you've seen kind of a simulcast stream of a Riff Tracks live event, but they keep those to about 2 hours, right? Like the runtime of a movie.
Yeah. It's usually like they'll come in, do a little talk with the audience because they do it at a live theater in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
And then they'll have like one of their shorts they'll do, and then they'll do the main movie. But those are always old movies that are heavily edited, so they're never more like hour and a half tops, probably less.
Right.
So yeah, it's about a 2-hour experience.
Yeah, so 5 hours is a pretty big ask. What are the ticket prices like? Are they like movie ticket prices or theater ticket prices for something like this?
The Fandango tickets, I think, were like $18.
Oh, okay. So it's not insane. Yeah, that's good.
No,
Yes,
it's not bad.
Yeah, so I wonder for 5 hours. They're giving you 5 hours though of amazing role play. So I wonder
They'll probably charge more just because the theater's going to want that space, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because they'll be taking up a screen. Yeah, that could be showing, whatever Barbie. So yeah, that's true. So I wonder, and I wonder if that's I guess the kind of IRL meetups of fans of online things, could be a little fun, but it just depends on where you're doing it.
Yeah, I'll probably watch, not in a theater, but I'll probably watch. I'll try. Let me say, I'll try to watch the first episode of the new season, like I tried to watch the first episode of the first last season, and made it like halfway through. Just because it's a new game master, a new cast, so I'm going to give them a second chance. I guess, what I'm saying.
Yeah. The first one, the first chapter wasn't great. I think just our campaign of Vaeson was much more interesting, and the characters did a lot more, and the you guys engaged with the world a lot more than I think they did at all. It was it wasn't great, and I didn't like the system didn't run all that well. It's a very simple system, but they were just saying numbers and things out loud too much that kind of like was a little bit weird and disruptive. I got a 6. It's like that doesn't make an interesting actual play.
Yeah, and the players were struggling, in the part I watched, were struggling to assign the points to the correct places, and it's like a simple system, but it's also seems like it has unnecessary pools or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I wasn't too into the system.
Right. Yeah, so we'll see. I can't believe this business they've got going now, though. These this touring live show thing. I mean, I guess they figured out, like, just like the recording industry figured out, that's where the money is. You can stream it for free. You can, let them enjoy that. But live events, you're going to get tickets. You're going to get box office. You're going to get, butts in seats. So they figured that out. So, yeah, if this turns into like, multi-million-dollar events, that's going to be insane. I mean, actual play that people are treating like a performance, on the scale of a Lady Gaga concert or whatever, whoever the kids go to see nowadays. That's crazy. Very interesting. Well, let's end this with some good news. So we have an announcement from DriveThruRPG. So they are banning all primarily written by AI content. So last week, One Bookshelf, the operators of DriveThruRPG, updated their AI-generated content policy, and they're banning all content that is preliminarily written by AI. And I think they're probably experiencing what the Kindle, Amazon Kindle, and a lot of the digital bookstores experienced right after the release of ChatGPT, is that people just started mass generating AI written novels and just posting them as this just this completely insane, try to cash grab and try to trick people into buying things just based on a just based on a blurb that they're going to get for an ebook. And probably, there's a lot of 99-cent ebooks out there, but I heard that a lot of the ebook platforms were just flooded with thousands and thousands of submissions after that happened. So the same thing has probably happened with DriveThruRPG. There's just a lot of people that are trying to take advantage of this easy text generation. So, and it's funny. The timing is interesting because, right now we've got the WGA and SAG-AFTRA striking, and one of their big things is, artificial is AI's influence on art. For the writers, the AI generation is worrisome, and then for actors, the digital image, recreating their digital image is becoming an issue. So
literally, sorry to interrupt.
No.
The one that got me was the streamers and film production companies wanted to do full body scans of actors, pay them a one-time fee, and have the rights to that image in perpetuity.
Yes, right.
With no like residuals or anything. And it's like, oh my God, that is so dystopian and terrible. There was one production they specifically talked about. The actors were just called in one day. You get paid for a day of work, and all you do is sit in front of all these cameras while we scan you. But then the asset we're creating, we own forever. We own you forever. And they said, of course, somebody with a big name and a big powerful agent behind them is going to be able to,
negotiate out of that. But the thing that it's really going to hurt is the background performers. So basically, you worked as an extra. You'll never work as an extra again because they have you. You're going to appear in movies. You're going to be sitting at the bar in the background of every Tom Cruise movie, but you'll never be paid again because they own your scan. Yeah, so ridiculous. So this is all starting July 31st is when this comes into effect. So that means, primarily written by AI language generators will no longer be allowed on the site. And they're talking about, though, we still don't have great detection tools for this. So of course, they're going to say this will be the rules, but it's going to be hard to, kind of drive out all of the people trying to sneak this past the system. And they also are talking about AI-generated art images. So they're making a point of saying that, so this policy also applies to AI-generated art, and that you're basically going to have to say specifically that that is what you used. So and the problem with this, if you don't know, is that these artificial intelligence algorithms were trained on, the data set is trained on techniques of pre-existing data sets that they don't own, that they just acquired images that were, available online. So they're stealing people's work and basically turning it into something that can be reproduced with their software. So statement from DriveThru, at this time, DriveThru Marketplace requires partners to set up their own AI-generated artwork policies on game, rulebooks, and adventure products. Any products that utilize AI-generated art must be tagged as such. At this time, the Marketplace does not accept standalone artwork products that utilize AI-generated art. So the updates for the 19th, this came out on the 19th. We value innovation, but starting on July 31st, Roll20 and the DriveThru Marketplace will not accept commercial content primarily written by AI language generators. We acknowledge enforcement challenges and trust in the goodwill of our partners to offer customers unique works based primarily on human creativity. And with our AI-generated art policy, community content program policies, they are dictated by the publishers that owns that. So you're the publisher that owns things are allowed to decide what they want to put out there, but it's going to affect if it can be posted or not. So unfortunately, they're going to have to rely on goodwill, so people not cheating to get this stuff out there. And but it's good news. It's good news for creatives. I think unfortunately game designers sometimes tend to be a little bit on the cheap side, and they want to get their game out there and they want it to look good, but they don't want to pay an artist. So that can easily be a problem, especially with the AI art generation. I heard a couple of people that have published things say, "Wow, this is going to make my games look so much better." And it's like, okay, and it is very recognizable. I don't think I've seen a piece of AI art that I was like, "Oh wow, that's that artist. That's an amazing technique from that artist." They're still recognizably Frankenstein enough that you can tell it's not like a human wouldn't have done that. And I'm sure it'll get better and better, but the fact that people people don't have the eye or the discretion for that, and they just want to throw that all over their work is pretty depressing.
Well, it's gonna, some of them are gonna be real obvious too, like when you put up your $1.99 drive-through PDF, and it has this art that's like this amazing Blanchian,
right?
Like intricate, abstract craziness. You're like, $1.99, huh?
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because they'll definitely make that mistake because they didn't pay anything for it. So I think. Like I hope the thinking eventually gets to the point where, okay, AI generation, there's no stopping it. It's going to exist, but we have to acknowledge stuff that's generated by AI, and it has no copyright. It has no value because no human labor went into it. Writing a text prompt is not labor. The software did the labor. So that's fine. Do all of that you want. pollute the internet, cover the world with that stuff. And people have done, using those tools, done some interesting experiments and some funny things, like kind of testing the limits of those tools. But we have to recognize that you don't own that. Nobody owns that. So if you're going to waste your time producing that stuff, it has no value, and you should receive no revenue from it. It should be impossible to sell because it contains no labor. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. And unfortunately, I think I heard just recently that OpenAI, the company responsible for ChatGPT, has kind of quietly retired their AI detection tools. So they were working on those, and acknowledging that you need to be able to find out if their software was used. But now they're quietly saying, well, maybe you don't need to. Maybe we're not going to do that anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't trust much of what's going on with this, but it's good. It's good that Drive-Thru is kind of taking this stance.
Yeah, it is really good that they're making that stand. Like you said, it's going to be hard to catch it all. But if they have this rule in place, and then their community reports to them, it'll, they can be like, oh, well, you violated our standards. We're yanking your title.
Yes.
So it does give them a way to take action. It's like, we said that this is our policy, so you're out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I think that is good. Yeah, if they have that, if there is a written policy, then they can use that to enforce things. And I think you're right. The community will also help find those things. That was a funny thing that happened in Japan. Any of the studios, the Japanese manga studios producing comics, whenever an artist traced a Google image, they were always caught. So the readers, the readers of manga in Japan, look at the background and look at the buildings in every single panel of these comics, and if they see anything, they'll Google search, skyscraper or chicken or whatever, and they'll say it's within the first page of results, and you trace this photo, for your manga. So there have been tracing scandals in Japan. So hopefully there'll be a few people that decide they are going to be the enforcers of this, and they'll track down all AI, misrepresented AI generated work, and call it out. But so hopefully the internet will have a little bit of its own policing.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Forgery and plagiarism have always been a thing. But to a certain degree, art forgery, visual art forgery, in a weird way, takes skill.
Right.
I can remember, this is going weird, but when I was a kid, middle school, I had the Empire Strikes Back official movie magazine, right? And there was this great painting in there and it's the Hoth, Battle of Hoth, and Luke is on the ground in his flight suit looking up at this big AT-AT, and I had a Traveler supplement, and one of the full page art pieces in it, you could hold them up next to each other and see, they just drew over everything,
right?
Changed how his helmet looked and took the AT-AT out of the background.
Wow. Right.
And I remember being, holy shit, they just copied this,
Yeah.
Right. But now it's super scary because now you don't even have to be, a semi-decent line drawer. You just have this machine do this crap for you,
Right. Yeah, and people can just plead ignorance. It's just I had no idea I was stealing. I was just using this commercially advertised software. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think especially for the art asset generation, I think it's important. I think that's something that Midjourney is doing. So when you generate stuff, you're generating it basically onto a Discord server or their website. So you're publicly generating all your art. So anything you make with your genius text prompts, other people can use. It's out there forever. It's not like something that you created that you have any rights to. You can use the software, but it's publicly posted, so anybody can copy and paste that and put that in there, whatever thing they're doing. So I think that's a good way also to prevent people from thinking they have any ownership over these images that are being generated. But yeah, it's too late now. I mean, they needed to just like, private data, privacy policies and personal data. They needed to stop this a long time ago. It's already too late. It's it's already a free for all. So of course, everyone that's posted artwork on the internet is having it included in a data set, whether they like it or not.
That feature, the fact that anyone can use it, as long as that stays true, it'll probably be the only thing that keeps, like, for instance, Wizards of the Coast. Like, if they could AI generate their art but still maintain a copyright on it,
yeah,
they would have a whole set of AI generated Magic cards.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They would just start cranking them out.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I was really sad to see the new Secret Invasion, the new Marvel Disney series on their Disney Plus platform. Their whole opening sequence was AI generated art. It was all this like weird animation that looked like, kind of paint on glass, like digital paint on glass, and it was like these, characters morphing between human and Skrull, but it was obviously like, just because of the likenesses of the actors on the show, you could tell this is just weird AI generated art that is like, grab some runway photos or some red carpet photos and just thrown their images in there. It was really depressing. So Disney has already made has had the poor taste of using AI art for a show opener. So we'll see where that goes. But good for you, Drive Through RPG. Hopefully, and it's the biggest platform out there. So hopefully they hang in there and keep making good decisions. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. So hey, Matt, where can people find you?
Well, I closed my Twitter X dead bird, whatever you call it, site. I canceled I closed my account finally. I was, once the X thing, I was already limping along with that site anyway, but now this whole X ridiculousness, I was like, nah, that's it, that's enough. Right. So I'm on Threads, and Instagram, same username at Hargold, HAARGALD. So you can drop by there. I'll be on here tomorrow night live streaming with Jeremy.
Yes.
And yeah,
good.
I got my new Session Zero thing on Drive-Thru. Check it out.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll put a link to that as well. Yeah, and Matt also did a great unboxing of the original Moldvay basic box. Yeah, so on the channel, it's really entertaining, and if you've never seen that box, it's well worth it. It's very, very fun piece of gaming history. Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. This is dumb tangent, but someone sent me a link. There's an action figure of this sorceress. A company makes an action figure of her, so I'm like, I kind of need to have that.
Excellent. So we better see that in the background next time you're on the weekly.
It might be a couple weeks, but yeah.
Nice. All right. Excellent. All right. Yeah. So thank you so much.
How about you?
Oh, me. Yes. Abuse Cartoons. Yes. So Abuse Cartoons is still a thing. I'm still doing it weekly. It's 2 single panel gag cartoons that I draw. And that's on YouTube and Twitch. I do a live stream during the drawing of the cartoons. I also eat some snacks from Japanese convenience stores, so you can see some weird, wacky flavors and things that they have here. And so that's Abuse Cartoons on social media. And if you want to read that cartoon, gocomics.com/domestic abuse is the archive of 20 years of domestic abuse. And if you'd like to support what we're doing here on the weekly, consider becoming a weekling on Patreon. It's patreon.com/upturntable. And you can have kind of direct contact with us. Let us know what you want to see more of on the stream. Send us some news tips and things about stories that sound interesting and kind of like what we usually cover, and and interact with us. We've got a Discord server for both YouTube members and the Patreon. You can log into Discord and all that good stuff. So Upturn Table on social media, and basically that is what we're doing. And then upturntable.com is the website where kind of everything is centered. So over the weekend, I will be finishing the final chapter of Frenzy, the second volume of the Apostle of Insanity trilogy for the Mutant Chronicles. So if you're enjoying that, or if you never heard any of that before, so this is kind of a dead, a dead novel that existed for Mutant Chronicles that is out of print, doesn't really exist anymore, and it never had an audiobook. So I just did an audio reading of it so we can enjoy that. This is a follow-up to what I did over the Christmas. Last Christmas, did the first book. It's kind of an advent calendar because it happened to have 25 chapters. So second version, and that's gonna that'll premiere over the weekend. The 20th chapter, which is the climax of the story. So if you enjoy Mutant Chronicles, that's a fun way to jump into that universe. And that might be a new thing, finding just dead books, dead book audiobooks. Might be a fun thing for the channel to do. So along with the lore series and things we've done for Mutant Chronicles, that's been fun. All right, so
we getting that Dragonbane,
and Dragonbane is coming. That's right. Well, once I pay my my import fees, I'll get my Dragonbane too. So unfortunately, Japan decided they're gonna tax us for importing games from Scandinavia, I guess. So we'll see. So I'll have a copy of Dragonbane and unbox that, and I'll post that second episode.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. And tomorrow night we're doing a live stream of the next session of Knave that Matt will be running, and I'll post the audio for the previous sessions in the member audio for both Patreon and YouTube. If you're interested in catching up on that, for as little as $1, you can hear what we're up to on our weekly roleplay sessions. So that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, so give us a minute. All right. We are back. Oh, wait, I got to move the chat. Chat is over Matt's face. Sorry. I didn't set up this scene right. More amateur hour. There we go. Nice. Okay, Matt, how's it going? Thanks again for hanging in there.
Yeah, no problem.
Through the stream. All right. Put
By the way, Knave episodes 1 and 2 are on high demand. Really?
Oh,
all right. Okay,
oh.
well that's cool.
Excellent. Yeah. So I'll just cut the I'll put the session 0 up there too. I think that was very interesting, the kind of creation of characters. So yeah, I'll just cut the kind of the rambling, like once we get into it, I'll have that, just the meat of those recordings posted.
So like a disclaimer, this is raw feed or something.
Yeah, I can do that because I'll make them videos. So I'll post I'll just use an image and just have a little explanation in the description for that. Nice. So what's going on in the chat? Oh yeah, that's right. Before we were talking about the Disney movies, Disney and their lovely Snow White.
So explain it to me. Are they shrunk humans now?
No, I think there's
or they're just people. They're not even dwarves anymore.
Yeah, there's one dwarf. I think there's one like physical dwarf in the group of dwarves now. Now it's just like random people of different sizes and ethnicities and stuff. Yeah, so it's just the
So it's Snow White and the 7 randos?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The 7, I don't know, 7 just dudes hanging out. Yeah.
People I thought Peter Dinklage was a pretty smart guy. Like, how does he not know that they're not humans with dwarfism? They are like a fairy folk. They're like separate from humans.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what his position is. I guess, I don't know. He's seeing it as exploitative or something. I'm not sure exactly what his idea is behind his stand against Snow White's 7 dwarves. But it's weird because he's just basically stepping in the way of a lot of people that can make a living playing those characters. And I think it's I don't know. I don't know if it's because recently with casting, they want gay people to play gay characters. They want people of certain ethnicities or racial backgrounds to play those characters, so that there's that it has some resonance or something. They don't want to be putting people in blackface or brownface to play characters that they're not part of that ethnic group. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's where he's trying to extend. No, he's not. He's saying that it shouldn't be done.
But he's not because
it's odd. It's odd. He's just pulling up that ladder. He's saying, "I made my money. You're not going to make yours." I'm
what he's doing? You know what he's doing? He's pulling a Kyle.
Yeah, right.
He's totally pulling a Kyle.
Yep. Yeah, he's saying, you should no longer be involved in movie making. So little people are not me personally. I'm going to continue to accept the roles, but you should not make movies. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like he's also hurting his future opportunities because if they're going to have the little people community is actually complaining about this, then they're going to stop making those stop making that kind of the content, and there's going to be no need for little people actors. It's weird.
Well, I mean he's an established actor and he's a good actor. Mm-hmm. So he'll find roles. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the problem. This is kind of like he's speaking from a place of privilege.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like there are definitely, like you said, there's probably struggling little person actors mm-hmm. who will not find roles. Yeah, that's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Yep, not good. But I think once you make enough money, it starts to damage your brain in Hollywood. So who knows? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, so Miguel was saying, Matt, I think Games Workshop should increase prices all around 20%.
Yeah. When I was muted, he was putting all kinds of words in my mouth.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. He's doing your
I love D&D and our wizard overlords. Well, I love old
Nice.
D&D. Does that count? The
Yeah.
wizards can suck it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. That's true. I think that's they've needed it's kind of been coming for a while because they just keep adding to the Space Marine, kind of catalog for 40K, and they haven't taken anything out, and so yeah, it's gotten probably pretty unwieldy. But yeah, I think people they were dreading this move, but yeah, it makes things simpler, makes them I don't understand, like, the game's existed for so long. There's so many editions of it, and there are so many things that kind of exist in this. There's no rules for them, but they sell them, or they're rules for a thing that they don't even sell anymore. They have a very messed up catalog for a lot of their miniatures. They should have that figured out, and maybe this is part of that process. Is just getting rid of older models, make sure that they can just say, this is what we're currently able to produce. We have molds for and whatever. But yeah.
So are the what are they called, the female, the sisters of whatever?
Sisters
Are
of
they
Battle.
still are they still going to be a thing or no?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because they just recently did a whole plastic range of them. For a while, they only existed as metal. Yeah. So, Miguel is telling me, yeah, I had it backwards with the hot dog buns, the analogy. He's saying it's not that you need to buy multiple kits to get extra weapons. It's now that there's only one right way to equip a squad. So, yeah, so you can imagine it's not the way that people built theirs. I see. So that's why it's invalidating old armies, is because the weapons that those miniatures are holding are no longer part of the list, part of the army list, or part of the available equipment. I see. So that's what they're doing. They're not.
But that's like the creative part of the game, right? Is equipping things differently, and then also modeling them differently. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Just play a video game, man.
Right. Yeah, I think it's their attempt to. Because that's the way they advertise this new edition, is they're streamlining things. So this is their attempt to streamline, is just giving you fewer options. There's just fewer choices with how you put things on the table, which I guess might make it easier as a point of entry, like easier to understand than some of the older editions. But I don't know. So, yeah, Miguel says, isn't it nice that they have principles? Yeah, that stupid thing about good principles and good people. All evil and greedy principles. Yeah, they got them from Disney or EA. Yeah.
Man, that designing of dragons, oh my God.
Yeah.
It makes TSR look even worse than... And there's other companies that did dick moves too, like that Fantasy Games Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's a real piece of work too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you'll have to read it or listen to it. It's really interesting.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I definitely want to check that out. I've heard it's a good history of the hobby. So yeah, nice. Yeah, it's crazy. Games Workshop is culturally opposed to taking loans. Yeah, they have to be ahead of inflation by decades. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing that they limit break. Yeah, that's right. That's the Final Fantasy thing, the limit break. So you collect your little tokens and do your limit break for your character in the Cloudbreakers Alliance.
Is that when you release your Hadouken?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's that cut scene where your character like jumps 100 feet into the air and summons all this energy, and the spirit of a dragon flies out of their chest, and meteors rain down.
Is every player character going to have like a nemesis, and so they always get that cut scene where they just sort of look at each other and make noises and shit for like half an hour?
Right. They'll have to be that showdown with the
go all Dragon Ball,
Right.
My son was big into Dragon Ball, and I couldn't cope.
Yeah,
I couldn't cope. Like, really, this whole episode is these two just grunting and looking at each other? This is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that first series of Dragon Ball was very fun and creative when Goku was just a little kid. But once they grew up, and it just became a a stare down of freaked out blonde guys and space
Hey,
aliens.
you can answer this question for me because you speak
What's
Japanese.
that?
So when you watch an English dubbed anime,
Hmm.
like the classic cliche are the ridiculous, like long run-on sentences.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Is that mechanically a part of Japanese, or is
Hmm.
that just the dubbers trying to fill space?
Yeah, there's a cultural difference in animation between Japan and America. So this created that whole aesthetic of dubbed English. So people think that they're imitating like how Japanese people talk, but in English. But actually, what
Mhm.
it is that Japanese people don't care if the words coming out of the screen or coming off the television match the mouth or not. So lip sync is not a thing in anime. So
Ah,
it's I think it was a budgetary thing because they use fewer frames, so they can't match every single syllable of a sound. So basically, when the character is talking, their mouth is just open, close, open, close, open, close. But even something like South Park in America, they will change the mouth shape to for every single
yeah.
syllable, so that people will
Mhm.
literally have to. That's one person's job is just to do lip sync on animation and change mouths to match animation. So when voice actors go to dub anime, they're watching the screen. They've got a script and they're watching the screen, and it's kind of this weird. They have to get the same information in there, but they have to be
Mhm.
talking when someone's talking. So that's why
Mhm.
a lot of the vocalizations and stuff, a lot of the the weird stuff that they do, that's to fill stuff when there's nothing left to say. They've said all the dialogue they can say, and they're just making weird
Yeah.
sounds. And but that it's kind of this weird, and I think a lot of the Canadian voice actors that originally dubbed anime in the like 70s and 80s, that's what they were kind of responsible for creating, is that weird style of just huh, that weird that it
Mhm.
doesn't sound like
Mhm.
English. It has like weird intonation, doesn't sound like English.
Yeah.
And so it's just a kind of a weird cultural difference and a weird expectation. So Americans expect the voice to be coming out of the mouth when it's moving and to match the rhythm, but most anime is just open, close, open, close, open, close. So you create this kind of rapid fire weird dialogue delivery. Yeah, it's very strange.
That's good. I'm glad Japanese is not as broken as they make it sound
Yeah,
when
right.
they dub it.
Right, right. Yeah, so Japanese is much more monotone. Like there's no accented syllables. There's longer and shorter syllables, but no accented syllables. But it is more monotone in its delivery. But it's not rapid fire like how quickly they have to speak English for those dubs. Yeah, it's just very funny. Nice. So yeah, very funny. Oh, hey, Abyss. Nice. Oh yeah. Oh, what are we talking about? The first episode, so 50 minutes. Last one was barely 30. Oh, are we talking about the Secret Invasion? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's something that people are talking about is the now that they don't have a broadcast, they don't have it's not broadcast on television, it's just on a streaming service. The episodes are like wildly different in duration. Like it's very strange how they just do it until so that makes it so that it's stuck on streaming forever. Like they'll never put it on broadcast television because it won't fit anymore. Like it won't make commercial breaks or anything. That's a weird thing to do, but probably just a budgetary thing. Wow. It ends up like a wet fart. Yeah, I didn't even. I made it. I think I saw the first episode of Secret Invasion and just said nope. They totally blew it because they're kind of leading off of the Winter Soldier and kind of the interesting stuff that Marvel did with making it a little bit more like Jason Bourne, like espionage
Mhm.
stuff, and they totally couldn't follow through with the scripts and everything. They can't make a spy drama. That's just impossible for them. So funny. Yeah. Still engaged, disappointed. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Planescape is coming. That's right.
Oh man,
Games Workshop
there's
is,
like
or I mean,
there's like a little
Wizards. Yeah.
mini movement. There's
Mm-hmm.
a little mini movement on threads of like role play people,
Mm-hmm.
because of course D&D dominates everything. So a lot of the role play people that I've met on threads are D&D players,
Mm-hmm.
and just watching their feeds as a kind of a mini movement of people trying to boycott
Yeah.
Planescape, because of the quality of it. They expect it to be shit. They expect
Mm-hmm.
it to be very surface, not really like the old Planescape at all. And I guess, what was it? Oh, Spelljammer, was a huge dud when they tried to bring
Yeah.
it back.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like this little like mini rebellion of people trying to like, don't buy it, don't buy it.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be curious if that's actually effective. I mean, the player base is so huge for 5e. I think boycotts are probably
Hmm.
pretty hard to
Yeah.
organize. But yeah, but they were saying though that the last, I forget, I think that was last year in 2022, that they had like 4 dud releases in a row, Wizards of the Coast with 5e. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off.
And the image I saw, the Lady of Pain,
Mm-hmm.
she looks, in the one I saw, she looks so much toned down. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, who's that artist? Was it Detalergy? How do you say his name? The guy that did all the old Planescape stuff. Dita something. I can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they did a unique thing with that original Planescape, is they had one artist basically do all the art pieces.
Right, right.
So it had like a unified feel.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lady of Pain was in his style and looked, I thought, really cool. And the new one just looked really like whatever to me.
Yeah. Yeah, Tony, what is it? Tony
D-
Dieterlizzi. Yeah, Dieterlizzi. Yeah.
D2 Lizzie, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. That one.
Yeah, yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember. I remember this art. Yeah, that's a shame if they're going to and I wonder, yeah, if they're not going to use the original artist, then it is going to be people like, yeah, reimagining that style. Yeah, but it's probably going to have to match all the 5e stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Biss said Lady of Pain now looks like a child with a smile on the mask. Yeah. Yeah, everything's toned down, everything's safe.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they have to, yeah. For some reason they really feel they have to do that. And I it's still, even though they do that, they kind of make everything very anodyne and very like inoffensive, they still fuck up. They still like, upset people, and still someone is always going to be offended. So yeah, it's so funny. It's all for naught. But didn't they, Wizards of the Coast made that big point of saying now everything's going through sensitivity readers and cultural critics and everything. So yeah, they're going to be very
Yeah, it's hard to reconcile that with, a pan-dimensional entity called Lady of Pain.
right. Yes.
It's a little tricky.
Lady of owies, Lady of boo boos. They have to make it okay for the kids though. Yeah. Yeah, very strange. Too funny. Yeah. Who knows? Oh, and
I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no.
Go ahead, do Abyss.
Yeah, Abyss was saying, I bet they're not. They now allow all classes like clerics and other classes in the sigil, even though with the lore, it's not even possible to use outside magic. Yeah. They're definitely gonna. You have to be able to play your character, your magical furry cleric. Yeah. What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say, Matt?
Oh, it was a different tangent. I was just going back to the Disney thing. I was
Uh-huh.
thinking that like they're laying such turds with Marvel stuff now,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the Star Wars stuff too. That like, where are they going to go? Like,
Right.
they're clearly incapable of creating their own original thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd have to just go buy another big property and bring it in.
Right.
Because I think they're in a bad place, like for growth anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think so. And maybe they're just, I don't know. They want to. People keep saying that they are trying to sell off some of their TV stuff, but people are saying that maybe they're just trying to package themselves up for an Apple buyout or whatever. Yeah, who knows?
Well, I mean, I know not everybody likes Apple, but their production quality is very high.
Oh yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. All the Apple productions I've seen. Yeah, that's very true. So Peter Dinklage's quote was, "I was a little taken aback by the fact that they were very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White, huh? But you still are telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. So you're progressive in one way, and you're still making that fucking backwards story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the fuck are you doing, man? Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox? I guess not. I guess I'm not loud enough." They're so proud of that and all the love and respect to the actress and the people who thought that they were doing the right thing. But I'm just like, what are you doing? Yeah, so, He would have.
So then he just either he's willfully ignorant or he just doesn't get that those dwarves are not real world little people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's just calling it backwards, backwards story of dwarves in a cave. Yeah, that's weird. It's a fairy tale. I mean, okay. It's not little people relegated to caves because they can't live among other.
They're literally mythological beings, and they're enshrined in certain cultures' folklore. Should those people now be offended that you're attacking their folklore? I mean, it's just
right.
It's just silly.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just I think you get these guys liquored up on talk shows or whatever, so they'll say whatever. Who knows? But it was probably just like a lot of people are doing that weird marketing. I'm sure they jumped on this quote from him because it kept reminding people, hey, there's a Snow White remake coming out. Yay! Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
Damn it, Peter! And I really like that Station Agent movie.
Oh yeah, right. You're blowing it, man.
You're blowing it. Oh well.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, who knows? I guess, but he's got maybe though too. Growing up as a little person and like having that seven dwarves thing hanging over your head your whole life. Maybe that's part of his bitterness. Is just he's come to despise that. Yeah.
He's definitely, it's coming from a place of, where he's probably suffered in his life. But the thing about growth is you got to start seeing things from other points of view and like educating yourself. You know what I mean? Like, anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Snow White has a German folk fairy tale or folk story. So is it cultural appropriation that that now Snow White is those poor Germans?
Oh yeah, the Oompa Loompas. Is he pissed about them?
Oh right. Well,
they're small
in the new. I wonder what they're doing because isn't Hugh Grant?
It's It's like they're all going to be little CGI Hugh Grants, I think.
Right. CGI Hugh Grants. Yeah, it's weird. Well, like they did with halflings in, or was it gnomes or halflings in the D&D movie? They just did the digital miniaturization thing.
Okay. That was the worst part of that movie.
Oh yeah.
Was what's his name? What's that actor's name from The Hangover?
Yeah. What's his face?
as the halfling boyfriend.
Yes.
That was they were trying to do the like proportional shot thing, kind of like a Lord of the Rings deal.
Right.
But it looked terrible. It just looked like a guy sitting on a giant chair.
Right.
Like, they did a terrible job with that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and I think it was just like a recognizable actor who's tall, who's known for being tall, as the joke. That was the joke. Like that was the whole gag.
Yeah, I know, but it's just it took me out of it. It was just like it was too much.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. Right. Yeah.
I mean, the idea of the barbarian having a halfling boyfriend was hilarious. That's fine.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, but maybe that's the new thing now. Just so they don't upset Peter, they have to just. I don't know. Yeah, it's very, very odd. Oh man. All right. Well, good to see everybody in the chat, and Skeletor makes an appearance. Thanks for catching that, Matt. You have to do double duty. Sorry about that. You're
fine.
Co-hosting and modding.
I was all like, "Oh, Skeletor, cool!" Boobs. Oh my god, really?
Yes. Nice.
Matt needs to look for the photo of the stand-ins.
Oh yeah. They had that leaked set photo that was all the. They were saying, Disney immediately said, "Oh, this isn't a real photo," and then they said, "Okay, maybe it is, but it's some of the actors are stand-ins. It's not the real cast."
Wait, for which thing?
For Snow White, yeah, for the Snow White deal. Yeah, there was some set photos that leaked on social media. And it looked terrible. Like the quality of the costumes and everything just looked horrible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Daily Mail. That's right. Daily Mail posted those.
See, the way they rehashed all their classic animated things as a live action thing is just more evidence that they don't have anything to go to. They have no...
Right.
They have no ability to create a new property. Like...
That's true. Yeah. Oh, here, Matt. Yeah, I'll put this in the chat. You can check out this awesome link. So this is the article that originally showed up in, and it's just like a little way down, like one scroll down, and you can see the group.
Oh, what?
So those are the 7 dwarves. There's one really, really tall dwarf.
Yeah, those are like Willow the TV series level costumes.
Yeah, pretty bad. It just it looks like they went to Old Navy and kind of put.
I'm sure they'll talk in like modern, Gen X colloquialisms and
right. Yeah.
I don't even care about like race swapping or gender swapping. Like that doesn't really bother me that much because it's a fantasy thing anyway. Mm-hmm. But they are literally dwarves. That's what the story is. And,
right.
Like, come on.
Yep.
That's funny. and having one dwarf amongst them just makes him stand out in a weird way. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, the costumes are really bad. I don't know what they were going for.
Kind of a gypsy thing going there. I don't know.
Yeah. They're colorful. Yeah, weird. Yeah, you got to watch those set photos, man. Everyone's walking around with a camera. Everybody in the crew's got a camera in their pocket. Wow. Yeah, so good fun. Yeah, that's funny. They didn't cast the queen, the Wicked Witch, very well. Gal Gadot is a little too beautiful to be upstaged by Snow White. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, too funny.
What's her name as as Maleficent was actually looked good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what the hell's her name?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
the Tomb Raider lady.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's ex, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, thank you.
John Voight's daughter.
Yeah, there we go. Angelina, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch those, but she looked good. I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're. I guess anything like remember all those like VHS sequels, like straight to VHS sequels Disney did in the like the 90s. This is just that same thing. It's like for a relatively easy, like payout and picking up some director that could just like toss those things out there. And the first couple of them made it like $1 billion. Like the first few that they did really well. So they're like, yeah, let's just run through the catalog.
Yeah. Once they got to like Aladdin, like part 5, it started to run down a little bit.
Yeah. So they haven't had quite the well, I guess though, yeah, they're doing stuff straight to streaming as well. So yeah, it's hard to know what they're thinking. Yeah, I really think a lot of studios got really messed up by the pandemic because some of them jumped straight to, okay, no theatrical release. We'll put everything straight on streaming, and they now still haven't recovered. They still haven't like changed their thinking. They're doing a weird mixture of productions for streaming and like the budgets on these streaming series are insane. They're hundreds of millions of dollars to produce these things. So yeah, it's very weird. I can't imagine that they get any kind of return.
The Prince looks like the Prince guy from Shrek. He looks like
right.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's what they're going for. Yeah, oh man. And he's like, they've already said he's playing a backseat. Like, she's not rescued by the prince. He doesn't do anything for her. She's the leader. Snow White is calling the shots. He's just tagging along. The prince is just arm candy.
So why didn't we just make a new story? Like, I don't understand.
Right. Because people know Snow White. They'll
because then you'd have to pay a writer. You need to have to pay a writer more.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. All these like stolen fairy tales don't cost anything, and no one's going to sue you because nobody owns it. So yeah.
Yeah. Disney built an empire on doing that crap.
Yeah. Nuts. Yeah. All right. Well, good. So yeah, looking forward to tomorrow, Matt.
Yeah.
And, so anybody watching this or on the channel will go live with that, so you'll hear the raw live stream of our weekly sessions. So yeah, and that was funny.
Right.
The last one got dinged on YouTube, and maybe it was picking up like the background, sound effects and music and stuff, and it made it restricted. But I resubmitted it for like human review, and they're fine with it. So we can keep doing that, because you were using the background kind of atmospheric stuff, from Alchemy. So I want to keep doing that because it does make it's very different. It adds a lot of atmosphere, but yeah, YouTube is just fussy with all that stuff. But it's fine. The stream is out there. So yeah, I'll get that other audio up, and and the last got a lot of editing. That last chapter for the audiobook was like 90 minutes. So it's a lot. Ooh. It's a lot of editing, yeah. But I'll get that up over the weekend, and we'll move on to bigger and better things. And yeah, hopefully Dragonbane will show up. So we'll have the physical copy.
I won't read any of those adventures.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm gonna be all like, you have to run it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, that's cool. That's totally cool. Yeah, I'd be looking forward to that. That just their little quick start adventure was really fun. So yeah, I can imagine that will work. Yeah. So we'll be doing that soon. Yeah. So look for some Dragonbane on the channel.
Cool.
And possibly some Star Trek, right?
And Star Trek, yeah.
So we're thinking
hopefully in a couple weeks.
Yeah, nice. That will be fun.
Yeah, Biss. So 8:00 tomorrow, 8 p.m. PST, which is, I'm guessing, around midnight. Wait, how does that work? Yeah.
Which way? Yeah.
In Europe, that's like. Wait, is that 8 hours forward? I always get that messed up.
Oh yeah, it might be. Yeah, so like
because you're in the future.
Yes.
Is he behind me? I always get that messed up. Oh well. Anyway,
yes.
it's on your phone. You'll figure it out.
Right. Yeah, and it'll be saved. The stream will be archived. It won't disappear. So take a look for the notification link will work regardless. We're totally wrecking Abyss's sleep schedule. Yeah, that's the trouble. Yeah, we're like in such radically different time zones, and then there's time zones in between ours, and it's a mess trying to get all this scheduled. Crazy. All right. Well, excellent. So we'll do this again next week, and I'll hit up Matt if Chris's schedule is still a mess. I'll hit up Matt again, and we'll talk some more about all things tabletop. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll do this again next week. All right.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.